shoulder stability, volume 1, utilising the TheraBand. So I'm going to teach this as if it was an extension of the Pilates work we've done, where the whole principle behind this exercise is you set the shoulder position, you align your posture, and the maintenance of that alignment is the most important thing. The exercise you're doing with the band, while it is engaging the muscles, it's strengthening the muscles that you're using, that's not our primary focus. Our primary focus is the restabilisation of the shoulder girdle and therefore the beginning of the chain that we're trying to work. Most of these injuries have started or are being prevented from healing due to a lack of restabilisation at the spine or at the shoulder girdle itself. So if we can retrain that, then almost any exercise we set you in the gym can be used for rehabilitation once we've got past this early stage. So what you're going to do, you're going to draw the shoulders down into the back pocket. So just like they're sliding your wings away, you're drawing your belly button in, you're lengthening your neck and tucking in your chin. You're going to take up the tension in the band on one side. Now what we're going to do is one side is going to maintain still. The other side is going to move. You take up the tension in the band, set the shoulder back, gently tuck the elbow in, and just move the arm to the side. Now it doesn't need to be a big movement. The most important thing, remember, is that the shoulder doesn't hitch up and there's no movement of the shoulder around the body. We isolate the movement to the forearm. So my elbow isn't moving at all. So if you see this, you can see my upper arm is moving. That's wrong. I'm using the middle of my spine, I'm using my rhomboids, I'm using the trapezius. I'm not using the small stabilisers. And if you make this a really big explosive movement or a very heavy gross movement, the larger muscles are going to kick in. It's their job. They're doing that too much at the moment, which is preventing your healing. That's why we're giving you these small stability exercises to do. So don't be concerned with that being big, it being fast. It's about making these smaller muscles work to re-engage them so they can take over their job, which is stability. So the large muscles, the prime movers, can do their job, which is movement. I'd aim for 15 to 30 repetitions. If you can't get to 15 or 30, just not quite there yet, that's fine. Do as many as you can, starting with your weaker side as the moving hand, and then just mirror it on your good side, because otherwise you're just exacerbating the problem. You're just making the imbalance between the shoulders worse if you just keep doing 15 on your good side and only 5 on your bad. Make sure you're always keeping the tension, that shoulder isn't moving at all. Second exercise, from hammer grip we turn thumbs over, we come in just below collarbones. You can be in line with collarbones. What you're going to tend to do is hitch the shoulders up. So come in just below collarbones. One arm stays nice and locked. You set the shoulder down, you engage the spine and the shoulder girdle. So you should feel your lats, the muscles on the side of your back engage, and you're just going to take the arm out to the side. Now it doesn't have to be a big movement, but remember we don't want the shoulder to roll forward or lift. So you take it to the side, you gently bring it back in, and then you go again. Just gently out and bring it back in. I'm keeping the band constantly under tension. Now this is quite a light band, but if you had a higher resistance band, or if this band is heavy enough resistance for you, you might find that your movement's just there, especially with a really acute shoulder injury, and that's fine. Okay, again, 15 to 30, nice and slow. Your next set, you either stand or you can kneel on it, as I'm kneeling on the table. You roll the shoulder back, you lift the chest up, and you just gently lift the arm to the side. Now, that can be enough for most people, especially if we're giving it through a rotator cuff injury. You know, a small degree of abduction is going to be painful. So that's fine. I don't want you working into a painful range. I just want you in a comfortable range where you feel the muscles firing, but there shouldn't be pain. And then as you get stronger and you and your therapist agree, you can come higher. Again, I would aim to just come below the collarbone as your level 2. So I'm not lifting up, I'm not letting my shoulder hitch, I'm just coming to the side. I always place my other hand on my collarbone just to make sure I'm not cheating. And then when you're ready to, the next level, you won't see where my hand goes just because of where the video is, but you can come all the way above your head as long as there's no elevation of your clavicle, your collarbone, all the way back down and straight back up again. If you want to make this just slightly harder, you just bring the band onto the opposite side, so either knee or foot. So there's just a little bit of cross resistance, and it will just make the exercise slightly harder because the arm's going to want to adduct across the midline and all the way back up again. Okay, last exercise in your set 1 of exercises is the forward raise, kneeling or standing. So especially with a shoulder injury, if you want to stand on it and keep it really small, you can. Take up the tension on the band so it's just away from your thigh. set the shoulder back, lift through the chest, brace your abdominals, and just a small lift forwards and back again. Now you really are going to want to lift this shoulder, especially if you've done all these exercises back to back. But you can come up, slowly, getting it higher and higher and higher. And when you're ready to, obviously you can come all the way up overhead, as long as there is no lift of that shoulder. Remember, same with Pilates, this is about doing this perfectly. It's not about going as high as you can, as fast as you can. You are not going to fix your shoulder by jumping ahead steps. If anything, you're going to make it worse. The same as stretching too hard, by pushing yourself through levels when you're not ready for it. You'll get far more benefit keeping it to a smaller level, spending longer and doing more repetitions on the lower level, getting the activation, making it perfect, and therefore less irritation, than doing however many reps you can at a high level. It's not weight training, this is rehabilitation training. So, shoulder restabilization exercise, set 2. So you've done the basics, I'm assuming, which is the abduction, the overhand abduction, forward raises and lateral raises. So all we're going to do, we're going to make it a little bit more complex. You wrap the arm around the band around the back, you gently tuck the arm in to increase the resistance. If you can see, I just take my arm slightly forward, so my elbow is just in front of my midline and tucked into my side, just so the band is on a little more tension. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift my elbow up to the side and gently bring it back down. Now again, it doesn't have to be a full range, and it's just a modification of the lateral raise that we did before, reducing the lever, and you'll see why in just a second. Really focus on that pin back of the shoulders, the draw in of the tummy, the length of the neck, and that there is no movement in your shoulder blade at all. This is all isolation of the upper arm and the forearm. Okay, and we're going to progress this to a lift up to the height you know you can hold, pin the shoulder, and come into a rotator raise. You lift the hand up. Now, if you look from the side, my hand stays in front of my midline. I don't want it coming behind you because you're just going to end up extending your spine, taking it out of your shoulders. Bring it back down and tuck it in. You can do multiple repetitions up here if you wish to, or just make it single reps. And it's all to be agreed with you and your therapist. Your next set of exercises, what you're going to do, you take the arm to the side, and we're just going to do circumduction, which just means small circles. So it can be out to the side, really, really small, and you can gradually get bigger and bigger. I've still got the same resistance on the band, and bigger. As long as that shoulder doesn't lift, I tend to turn my palm out slightly to help me recruit my muscles, so I turn my palm up at the back, turn it over at the front, or you keep it small. And you can roll through to the front, really, really small. And then change direction, go all the way back out again. That circular movement you did out to the side can be in the front too. You can get bigger and bigger and bigger, as long as there's no lift of the shoulder. And the whole point in this is we're using the full range of the shoulder and we're fatiguing the shoulder girdle. It's getting tired by this point. You're having to fight to maintain that posture, and that's where the endurance is building back in. Okay, last exercise for the moment in this position. You're going to bring the arm up where you finish with your rotator raise, and we're just going to reverse it. So now the arm is wrapped around the back instead of around the front, and you're just going to bring the arm forward. Try and make sure you don't drop that elbow. It's just below my collarbone, and gently rise back up and come forward. So it's the complete reverse of that movement. And what the challenge in this is, your shoulder's going to want to roll forward into protraction. So pin it back, lift the chest, draw the lats and the mid back in, so you're getting that strong posterior activation all through your back. The posterior chain is firing, and you're just controlling the movement.